Hello and welcome to this episode of the Toy Photography Podcast. Today I'm going to be looking at just some simple toy photography I did with two figures, and we can see the outcome here. And this is probably one of my more favorite shots. I did a lot of variation within these shots. So what I like to do is I like to set up a scene and I like to light it, and then I like to do bits of variation, and those variations really are in the lighting and in the camera angles. So we can see between these two pictures, I've just changed things slightly. I've changed the lighting and we've got much more rim lighting on the right hand side figure, which is Reva, compared to the first one. It's much more dramatic. Not necessarily a better picture. Both have rim lighting, but it's much more dramatic. So as I go through, you can see I'm changing the position and I'm changing the lighting ever so slightly, and it's the position of the camera and the subsequent focusing and things like that. You can see here the background is a little bit lighter than in previous ones, and this is because this one I'm looking at now is actually an edited version, so I think it's very similar to this one, but I did a little bit of editing in the phone or the Apple Photos app and just really dropped those blacks to make it more of a better picture and desaturated it a bit. So this is, I think, what it looked like originally, and then I went and edited it. So we've got some variations here. Here you can see the focus isn't particularly good on this one. The robot's head's out of focus. Here I've just taken it slightly in a bit. I've moved my camera, and the camera I used for this is the Sony a5000, and I used the 30mm macro lens for this. Now here we can see this is very dramatic, but it's not very good because it's almost silhouetted really, which is quite a good look, but you can't see enough detail here, so this is not a good image. Here's a very similar one again. I'm going to go through. This one looks like I've edited it, and you can see these two images side by side. Here's the original, and this one I've edited just to make it a little bit more vibrant and sort of bumped the exposure a bit. It's very similar again. So you can see I'm making small changes each one, whether that's changing the angle of the camera, zooming in a bit with the camera, moving with my feet, you would call it, but I'm just really moving 1 centimeter forward. Now, this one's quite good, but again, it's very dark. It's just focusing on the single character who's got a gun held to their head. And you can see in this one, actually the gun isn't directly held to their head, or it looks that way because of the focus. So this one, there's something I don't like about the image, although it could have been a really good image. Now this one I really liked, but there's a problem with it. So we've got some nice rim lighting on the security droid. Both figures are well exposed. What I don't like is you can see the flooring, and the flooring is just a wooden table. But the problem I have is it completely takes away from the illusion when you can see the flooring. Now I've got some sort of matting that I could have put down that in hindsight I wish I had put down when we look at these photos. I thought I wish I put that matting down, because that would have made it look like a floor. It's grey matting that I have. And if we go here, we can see we've got a very similar one as to before. Now here we can see there's a difference in exposure. The problem with this one is this looks like a toy because of her jawline. Here, because of the way it's lit, it doesn't look like a strong jawline or a fake plastic jawline, which is a shame. And here we've got the same problem. So I guess in going through all these photos, I've got a couple that are maybe good ones and ones I would publish, and I'm pointing out all the mistakes that I've made. So here it's lit in such a way that you can clearly see it's a toy, and this one is very obvious it's a toy, but this one is not, just because of the way it's lighted. This is very good as well. This is very dramatic lighting, and I really like this. I'd probably want to make the background a little bit darker, but would realize that you would lose a lot of detail in some of the other things. But this is a very good one as well, and this is very similar to it, similar again. So all I've been doing really is changing the camera angle, the lighting, and the sort of idea of the picture is pretty much the same. Here we've got a bit of a problem because I'm casting shadows onto the background. And again, that's another thing that totally ruins the illusion. It's a good picture, but it's casting shadows onto the background, and that gives it away, really. Now here again, there's nothing wrong with this other than the fact you can see that table. So you could solve that by cropping, but other than that, this is quite a good image. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll all the way down to a bit of BTS photography that you can see. I hope this doesn't make you unwell, this speed scrolling. Here's effectively how I did the shot. So we can see we've got the camera, we've got 2 lights overhead, and we've got a light behind to do a rim light. And in some cases, that blue light, I used my hand for it, and I just held it behind the robot to drop a bit of light onto the security droid and Reva. So obviously when I did the photography, the curtains and things were pulled, but here I've opened the curtains up so we can get a good sort of picture. And I've just got a sort of pop-up white background at the back to make it a plain background. So this is more of a level that the camera is at, so you can see a better explanation of how it sort of looks. And again, this is from using my phone to take a picture that's more in keeping with the type of picture I was making on my camera. And here's just a top-down picture to show what it looks like. So I've gone through and I've done some pictures on my phone with portrait mode and some just the standard photo. Portrait mode is quite useful for toy photography, and it does give some suitable results. And what I quite like doing is if I just want to test something out, just using my phone is quite a good way to do that. So let's wrap up and talk about what I learned doing this really simple toy photography and what I can pass on to toy photography enthusiasts so you don't make the same mistake. If you're going to be changing the angle that you shoot at, look out for things that are going to ruin your photo. So I put up a plain background so that there's nothing in the background that might get blurred out that you might think, oh, what's that? That's a distracting shape. I just put up a plain background. I knew, because of the way I was lighting it, that the background would either fall to grey or fall to black. But I forgot to put down a suitable flooring. So in Star Wars, having a wooden flooring just doesn't work. So I should have put down something for the floor, even if it was just a black piece of paper for those two to stand on. Ideally for Star Wars, you're going to want sort of a polished surface. So I do have a sort of reflective surface that I can use, but I didn't use it for this. And using a reflective surface sometimes brings its own challenges and problems. So I did quite a lot of rim lighting. Really for this you might want something like a snoot, or to use some cinefoil to really stop the light spilling. And when I use this front light here, which is like the blue light you can see here, it cast a shadow onto the background, which was a big no-no. So definitely working things so you don't cast shadows onto the background is good. But other than that, I think with just 2 figures and a couple of lights and a simple camera, I was able to get some really good shots that I think almost look like they're real. I don't think you don't immediately know that they're toys, although on close inspection you're going to see some of the joints and the articulations that give them away as toys, but you have to look quite closely for that. So I think the images do hold up, and I'm really pleased with the images. Let me know what toy images you're making and what sort of things you'd like to see on this podcast. Thank you. Goodbye.